You've just created a new RuneScape account, clicking through the dialogue of Tutorial Island, when you notice a shadow flickering at the edge of your screen. Before you can even equip your bronze sword, a player blasts through the dialogue with tick-perfect precision. His character glides into the rat fight, skipping through menus in a blur of pixels. He goes up the ladder and vanishes to the mainland before you've even learned how to use a bank booth. This is Tutorial Island, where every RuneScape adventurer was born. This is where every player learns how to fish, run, mine, and fight. What most players see as a tedious 10-minute tutorial was actually a battleground for one of the most unbreakable records in gaming history. For 5 years, the name Evonaabi has sat at the top of the throne, holding a time so perfect that not even a single second has been shaved off since 2021. He has literally published the blueprint, handed out the secrets on how others could improve on his time, and dared the world to take his crown. But despite his open invitation to his own downfall, the world has never beat his record. This is the story of Evonaabi, the immortal king of speedrunning. RuneScape Chronicles is now chronicling the stories of RuneScape's modern-day players. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and comment with the legends you'd like us to cover next. Now let's dive right into Evonaabi's story. Evonaabi is a RuneScape player from Finland. Not much is known about his early beginnings, but we can assume he started just like many RuneScape players, chopping trees, doing quests, and exploring Gielinor. But one day, everything changed. We don't know what specifically inspired him at first, but certain things come to mind, like Wook's completing the 6 Jads challenge blind. Or maybe it was seeing a speedrunning challenge from a different game. Evonaabi wanted to take on a new challenge in RuneScape. Little did he know that he would begin to pioneer RuneScape speedrunning and change RuneScape forever. His first upload dates back to January 19th of 2020, where he uploaded the Old School RuneScape Tutorial Island in the fewest possible clicks. Using some cleverly placed alt accounts and calculated clicks, he was able to complete Tutorial Island in the least amount of clicks, just 67 in total. Still a world record to this day. And eventually this love of unconventional play and challenges would lead to him joining a group called The Summit. While the group is now mostly inactive, The Summit was a group of players focused on one thing: pushing Old School RuneScape to its absolute limits. Speedruns, breaking game mechanics thought not possible, discovering new metas for skilling and PvM methods, as well as much more. While Evonaabi started out doing challenges with the least amount of clicks, he eventually transitioned over to speedrunning. But he didn't speedrun bosses like most players. He speedran everything else. Some of the notable achievements and world records he holds to this day include being the first player to Dragon Cup during the Trailblazer Reloaded Leagues, the first player to complete the medium combat achievements, the fastest RD cape on a fresh account with no multi-logging, the fastest entry to the Champions Guild on a free-to-play account, both on an Ironman and an Ultimate Ironman, and even the fastest Hollowed Sepulchre overall time. And this one is interesting, because it was discovered that in the Hollowed Sepulchre, if you have another player loading the instance, the traps on the floor will start their cycle. Loading in the Hollowed Sepulchre with nobody else in the room would lose you time on the run, since the traps wouldn't be on the optimal cycle. Evonaabi was one of the first players to realize this, and actually crazy enough to get an alt account on each one of the floors and go for world record attempts. He needed 5 separate accounts, all with the agility levels and Myrique questline completed to be there. All that just to shave off a few seconds. A lot of bossing world records tend to get beaten due to the new gear coming into the game and power creep taking over. But many of Evonaabi's records are 4 or even 5 years old and are not affected by new gear. There was one speedrun that caught Evonaabi's attention. It was from a small creator you may have heard of, Settled. Settled uploaded a video showing off his fire cape from scratch on an Ultimate Ironman in 34 hours. This was extremely impressive, and many thought so too, including Evonaabi. But unlike others, he thought to himself, let's beat this. This would lead to a multi-year rivalry between RuneScape's biggest content creator and one of RuneScape's best speedrunners. You see, not even 24 hours after Settled's video came out, Evonaabi had a run of his own. He beat Settled's run by 15 hours, showing his dominance in game planning, theory crafting, and strategy execution. In April of 2022, he would lower this time down to 11 hours and 14 minutes of in-game time. Truly impressive. Settled would eventually go on to beat this time, but it would take a new route and over 2 years later. In Settled's video, he says this about Evonaabi.
A massive shout out to Evonaabi. He set the standards for this run, he showed everyone what's possible, and I don't want to take credit for that. He optimized this run to a brilliant level, and I'm really glad he was the first domino to creating a history for this category. A history that I hope continues for many years to come.
If you've seen speedrunning videos on YouTube before, then you may have heard of a website called speedrun.com. This is the biggest hub for speedrunning any game in the world, and if you didn't know, Old School RuneScape has a section on this website too. And Evonaabi used to have almost every single record here, with the only one he didn't have being the Obtain Camo Top category, arguably the biggest RNG speedrun in the entire game. And despite years passing, his name still dominates on this website. It seems that nearly every leaderboard you check, his name is at the top, even all these years later. And looking through his profile on speedrun.com, Old School RuneScape is not the only game he speedran. He still holds records in Valkyrie Profile 2, Devil Dice, and even used to hold records on Castlevania Circle of the Moon. But of all the speedruns found on the Old School RuneScape category, there's one that stands out the most. It has the most submissions out of any category, has nearly no pre-requirements to run, has been attempted by some of RuneScape's most notable content creators, and all of you watching have probably unknowingly partaken in it. This category is the Tutorial Island speedrun. When veteran RuneScape players create a new account, they're speeding through the tutorial as fast as they can. But it turns out an alt account can make it go even faster. But not just one. Evonaabi had several. In fact, I have a quick challenge for you. Comment below how many alt accounts you think he uses for the world record. Then continue the video. The answer might shock you. The first alt we see is in the spawn room of Tutorial Island, where an account is holding the Gielinor guide in place. The second alt we see is at the survival expert just outside of the starting house, holding the NPC in the optimal position. Normally, you would need to talk to the survival expert to get an axe, chop a tree, and light the logs to cook your raw shrimp. But this is entirely skipped with Evonaabi's third alt that lights a fire right beside the gate. The same NPC hold is done with the master chef. And just look at how fast he's able to make the dough and bake the bread. His pathing after this room is also perfect. He always takes the shortest path to each destination he's going to. Now he's got the quest guide on hold, that's alt number 5. Now alt number 6 for the mining instructor. And after the first dialog box, you'll notice the alt account moving at the same time. This is to hold the mining instructor's position for the second dialog required. Next, we have the rat room. And this is arguably the biggest RNG portion of the run. In this room, you'll notice alt accounts 7 and 8. One of these accounts holds Vonika in place, while the other hits rats to low hit points. And for those of you who are observant, you'll notice he's already over a minute into the run. This means the giant rats would have regened 1 hit point, meaning he's been hitting down the rats while doing the rest of the run at the same time. And he has to make sure the rats don't regain hit points, and also make sure the account he used to deal damage logs out whenever the main speedrunning account is finishing the kill. Otherwise, the kill credit will go to the alt account. You'll see his alt account in the north logs out on the exact game tick he kills the rat. Every extra sword hit he would have to do here would result in a 2.4 second time loss, and any extra bow hit would result in a 1.8 second time loss. Now going up the ladder, you'll notice alt number 9 holding the account guide in place. And a little further up, alt number 10 holding Brother Brace in place. Finally, he reaches the magic tutor where we see alt number 11. All throughout this run, he's remembered the exact numbers to hit through dialog boxes, while clicking with perfect precision toward the next activity, and remembering exactly what to do with his alt accounts at the rat pit. And he completes Tutorial Island in an impressive 2 minutes and 48 seconds. So if you guessed 11 alts at the start of this run, you were right. But this run isn't just impressive. According to his analysis, he could have saved a total of 8 game ticks on this run. You remember that mining instructor he talked to. He lost a tick to the position of the instructor being suboptimal on the second interaction. And during the Vonika section, he purposefully loses a tick here by talking to Vonika on his alt. Yes, it loses a tick, but if he were to not do this, Vonika could wander off far away. So he does this to avoid the RNG factor. And where do the rest of the time saves come from? During the tutorial, you'll notice flashing icons you have to click. Normally, you finish the dialogue with the NPC and click on the icon. However, it was discovered that if you instead cancel the dialogue by having your player run, you can click the flashing icon while running, saving an extra game tick per NPC. In this run, he could have done this 4 times to save an additional 2.4 seconds off this run. Oh, and he also lost 1 tick to server lag. Even the world record can't avoid it. Evonaabi said all of this in the world record video description. He's telling people how to beat this record. He's giving all his secrets away. And even after over 100 submissions, none have bested his time. This may be because Tutorial Island speedruns actually got a little harder over the years, although it's still technically possible to beat his time. With the release of the group Ironman game mode in October of 2021, new dialogue was added to the Mage Tutor, which forces the player to lose 3 additional game ticks. Subtracting that from the 8 theoretical game ticks that could be saved, any player could still beat this record by 5 game ticks. But that's not the only challenge that came with the years. Every time you want to speedrun the Tutorial Island, a player must create a new account. It used to be very easy. Before, you could just reuse the same email as all the other accounts and follow it up with a plus and a number after to create a new account. But with the addition of Jagex accounts to the game, you can have only up to 20 characters on a launcher, and once they are added, they cannot be removed. With 11 alt accounts involved, this leaves you with 9 theoretical attempts at the run before you'd have to create an entirely new Jagex account. So while a theoretical 3-second time save is possible, the amount of effort and RNG that goes into these has made this run much more difficult, and has further solidified Evonaabi's rank. Evonaabi still holds the #1 spot for most of the leaderboards in the Old School RuneScape section of speedrun.com, despite not submitting a run in over 3 years. However, it seems he has no plans to continue speedrunning. In SettledRs' video where he beats Evonaabi's Ultimate Iron Man Fire Cape speedrun, Evonaabi commented here, stating, "This was a great run, GG. I wish I had the time to do speedruns again, but unfortunately it's not going to be me who lowers the time." It seems Evonaabi has retired from speedrunning the game, and has responsibilities which have taken over his time. But before quitting, he cemented his spot in Old School RuneScape history, as a legend with an iconic speedrun that will most likely never be beaten. But who knows? RuneScape players never cease to surprise me. Every legend deserves to be chronicled. If you want to uncover more history about players in the community and your favorite creators, hit that subscribe button. Drop a like if you enjoyed this journey, and let us know in the comments what fascinated you the most. Thank you for the support, and see you in the next one.